Hey guys, Chad here. I wanted to make a video about an issue I had that's been going on for about 3 months now, and I narrowed down the actual cause of the problem and I fixed it. So I want to run through what were the symptoms, how I diagnosed that it was the problem, and how to actually change the part. So it started at the end of last year. Every once in a blue moon, my pedal would stick to the floor, my clutch pedal. So I'd go to shift gears and it wouldn't come back up. So I hurried up and used my toe and pulled the clutch pedal up. Then it would be fine. It'd be fine for weeks. I'd go out, rip on the car a little bit. All of a sudden, the clutch pedal would stick, have to pull it up. Well, then it started getting worse and worse to the point like it would start to stick and wouldn't recover back at all. Every time I pressed it, I'd have to let the car sit for a while. So with that being said, I thought, okay, well, maybe my brake fluid has absorbed water and it was boiling and it was contaminated. So I changed out all my brake fluid. Now, your clutch master cylinder shares the same reservoir as your brake master cylinder. So it has the same reservoir. So I changed all the fluid, bled all my brakes. I bled the clutch. Now, with that being said, you can drop the tranny down to do it, which is a pain in the butt. You have to remove the transmission cross member. You have to remove that, like, I forget what they call it, but there's a metal piece that's underneath the engine that goes from side to side, has a bar. You have to remove that and loosen the motor mounts and drop down the rear tranny. You have to take the drive shaft off to get up there and bleed it. Well, I didn't want to do all that, so I ended up drilling 4 1/4-inch holes through the floorboard on the passenger side, and then I took a cutoff wheel and cut maybe a 2-inch by 1-inch rectangle, and it was perfectly where I cut it was the bleeder screw. And then I just put a piece of duct tape over it and put the carpet back. No issues. So you could bleed your clutch by dropping down the tranny, or you could go the route I do. It's your car, you can do whatever you want. I got a cage in my car and everything else, so I didn't mind cutting a little hole in the floor. But, so I bled it, put new fluid in it, same problem, same problem. So it got to the point that one day it stuck to the ground. I couldn't get the car out of gear. The push to start would not shut the car off while I was moving. I couldn't get the car stalled and I almost crashed the car. So, with that being said, I knew right there and then it couldn't be the fluid. You know, I've changed the fluid twice in it. So I narrowed it down that there has to be an internal leak in the clutch master cylinder because I was not losing any fluid whatsoever. So in the clutch master cylinder, you can have an internal leak, which then it doesn't build pressure. Way I tested this, when I had the pedal acting up and I would press the pedal down, I actually went to the bleeder screw on the slave cylinder, cracked it open and pressed the clutch pedal down to the floor. I barely had any pressure. So that told me it was the clutch master cylinder that was bad. So I used all data, and all data told me that you had to pull the whole clutch and brake pedal assembly out of the car to change the clutch master cylinder. Fudge that, okay? I found an easier way to do it, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It was so much simple. So let me show you how I did this. All right, so let me go up under the car, up under the dash here. So if you look up under here, there are 2 bolts that holds the clutch master cylinder in. Them 2 bolts there are 10 millimeters. And all you have to do is remove them 2 bolts. Then your line will disconnect. Use a very small flathead screwdriver. And there's a clip right there. Pull that clip down. The line that goes across will disconnect. I'll just pull out. And then you have your upper hose that comes off. Sorry, it's blurry. It's not focused. There it goes. That goes through the firewall. So you're going to have to take that off the brake master cylinder reservoir and pull that hose out. And then on the back of the pedal itself, is a clip, which I will show you, and you just squeeze the clip on both sides and pull down once you have everything disconnected, and it will just pop right out. Now what I did, like I said, I drilled a hole on the passenger floor. It's like up in this area where I drilled it, and I went and bled the bleeder. Well, first, before I bled the bleeder, I popped the line off underneath the hood, and then I opened up the bleeder and pushed the pedal down to get all the fluid out. So when I took that line off that goes across, I didn't have brake fluid inside my car. So one of the things you will encounter, which I did, I could not find any information on how to get that line right there removed. Well, it is just a pressed-on line. There is a rubber tapered piece inside that hose that slides over the nipple that holds it in. I pulled as hard as I could not get it off. What I ended up doing, I put my hand here to keep the master cylinder from twisting and breaking off the reservoir. I took a pry bar, I went in and pried on the very edge of that, pushing this way toward the fender, and put the pry bar up against here while holding here, and I pushed until it popped off. That is the way I found to get it off. You could try to maybe get pliers in there. I tried everything I can. That worked the best. Also, when you go to pull this hose out, it will get caught. It has to go down in here and around the back side of the master cylinder. What is that? The vacuum booster. So you're going to have somebody on the inside pull it out while you got it around, and vice versa, help when they go to put the line back up through. So if you look, I got the part out here, and as you can see, I don't know, well, you can see inside there. Hold on, let me come in here where it's darker. Yeah, it's hard to tell, but it is, let's see if I can get it to focus, tapered on the inside. You can see it somewhat. And this is rubber on the end here. So you just got to pull that out. And then, like I said, you got the 2 bolt holes, the clip to pop the hose off. And then down here, this clip here sits like that. So all you have to do is grab the edges of this clip, squeeze inwards, and pull, and it will come off the clutch pedal. Very simple way to do it. Take it out, put it back in the same way you take it out. And then I ended up, because I do have headers and whatnot, I didn't want to have my brake pedal fluid boil, and I did heat wrap my lines, so I ended up just switching the .4 max, so it has a higher boiling rate that will help with the heat getting to my clutch master cylinder. But there it is. Wasn't too hard to do. You don't have to remove the whole clutch pedal assembly to get it out. Like I said, you take off them bolts. It's very simple to do. So if you guys are having the issue of where your clutch is starting to engage all the way down near the floor and it just feels soft and spongy, or you're starting to get the problem where it's starting to stick to the floor, and if you change out your fluid and you still have that problem, I'm going to say odds are that your clutch master cylinder is bad. Since I've changed mine, I have 0 issues. The clutch is a lot firmer when I press the pedal. So I figured I'd make this video to help you guys out. If you like this video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Alright guys.